everyone, and welcome to the 6th day of Bookmas. And for the last couple days, I've been talking about series. So I talked about the series that I had finished this year in 2020 and series that I started this year. And today I want to talk about series that I started before 2020. So books that I had read in 2018 and 2019, and then didn't read any books from the series this year in 2020. And I'm just thinking, do I want to continue? It's been a whole year and sometimes longer since I've read the beginning books or earlier books in these series. And am I going to continue in all these? And do I have to reread the beginning books, or do I remember it enough to jump in, or can I just like read a synopsis online? So it's kind of a nebulous, like random topic, but these are ones that like series I really thought I was going to continue this year in 2020, and I just didn't. And so now I just don't really know where I'm at with them. So I just want to share these with you. A lot of these are really popular, so you can kind of convince me which ones I have to pick up early in 2021. Okay, I think a cat just fell, so sorry about that noise. I'm pretty sure a cat knocked something off the counter. Anyways, let's go back to books that I read in 2018 and did not read any books in the series in 2 years. So in all of 2019, 2020, I have not picked up these series. So the first one is the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. I read A Darker Shade of Magic back in 2018, and I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars, but everybody like talks about this series and how it gets better as it goes. And I don't know, I just am like hit or miss with V.E. Schwab and her books. And so after I read the first one, I kind of just like wasn't motivated. And now it's been 2 years and I'm like, I know I didn't love that first book, so I really don't want to reread it. It's popular enough that I probably could find a plot synopsis, but I don't know. So why don't you tell me, do you think that I should pick up the Shades of Magic trilogy again? Like, I wouldn't read the first book again. I would probably just look up a synopsis, but do you think it's worth it for me to continue? Because this is the one I'm really on the fence about, whether I'm actually going to continue this or just DNF the series completely. And then there's only 2 other series that I started in 2018. The first one is the Queen's Thief series. I read The Thief, which is the kind of prequel or first book in the series. And that one was all about a thief that is like, it's been 2 years and I didn't look up the synopses, but it was about this thief who was talked into doing this heist type thing by a magician, I think it was, and it was for the ruler of the kingdom. I don't know if it was the queen or not, because I know it's called The Queen's Thief, but I don't remember who it was that assigned him to do this. But anyways, the next book in the series is The Queen of Atolia, and then it goes from there. I think there's 5 books in the series, and I own all the books because I heard that the series was amazing. It's been 2 years and I haven't picked it up, and I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't think I would have to go back and read The Thief, because I think it is more of a prequel than a direct like beginning of the series. So I think I could just pick up The Queen of Atolia, and I just haven't done it. So yeah, I'm gonna go see what the cats are doing. There was a bug. So of course the cats were jumping on the counters and attacking things. I don't know if I got the bug, so there might be more crashes in the background. So the only other series that I started in 2018 was the Study series. I read the first book, which is Poison Study, and this is the next book in the series. It is a trilogy, but then like from the trilogy, I think there are other series that go off of it, so you have to read the trilogy first. And I really love that book. I think I might have even given it 5 stars. I have no excuse for not continuing the series. Absolutely none. And it's all about a woman who becomes the like poison taster for a commander or whoever. I don't know. He wasn't a king, but he was the person in charge of the kingdom, and she's testing all of his food and stuff like that. And that's where it goes from there. So yeah, I do want to continue. Been 2 years though, so I probably would have to kind of read a synopsis online, but I remember enough. I probably could pick it up. I know what happens at the end, at least. I could keep going. And that was all the ones from 2018. So in 2019, 2 of the books I don't own is the Nevernight Chronicles by J. Kristoff. I read Nevernight, I think towards the beginning of 2019. And I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. I'm not usually a big fan of assassin stories, so I didn't think I would like this, because it's about a girl who goes to like a assassin school basically. And it is a little more on the darker side. You know, there's definitely stakes, people die at the school and stuff like that. And it's a really popular series, but I have heard things about a lot of people that are fans didn't like the way the trilogy ended. And so I just haven't been motivated, since I don't own them. I haven't been motivated to go get them because it is like a hard writing style to get into. And then if I'm not gonna enjoy the ending, do I really want to invest the time? So this is another one where you can convince me. Do you think it's worth it to continue the Nevernight series, or does it just get bad by the end? Because I just don't know if I can make it through 2 whole books of that writing style if I'm not going to enjoy the ending. The other one that I don't own is the Time series, which is the middle grade, and I think they're actually companion novels. The first one I read was Grounded, the story of Rapunzel, and it was just about a retelling of Rapunzel basically. And it was a fun story. I enjoyed it. And all of them I think are like fun retellings. So I think the next one is about Cinderella, and then there's like, I think the Frog Prince or something like that. And so they're sweet, fun, but like also inclusive stories. Like I think every one of them, there's a little more to the fairy tale than kind of what is normally done in a retelling. Like I think they're more diverse books, or have like characters that have other things going on other than what is in the fairy tale. So I do enjoy the series. I just haven't picked up the rest of them. Maybe this year for middle grade March, I will try the next one. Okay, and then the rest of them, I either own or have the next book from the library. And so actually the next 2 are library books, and I'm a little shamed because this is the 3rd time this year I have taken both of these books out from the library. The first one is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, the sequel to Skyward. I read Skyward in 2019, and as soon as Starsight came out in 2020, I went in, or I guess it came out at the end of 2019. So it come out like in November, December, right before 2020. But I picked it up at the beginning of 2020 from the library. I had it for months because with the pandemic, it wasn't due back. Eventually I had to return it. I actually started reading it. I think I read like maybe 100 pages, maybe less than that. And I have like no excuse. I think I put it down because I just wasn't ready to like end this, and if it was a cliffhanger, it'd be so long until the next book. But now the next book is coming out in 2021. So I got it from the library again. And like I said, this is the 3rd time I've got it from the library this year. I just got it out again, so I will hopefully read this at the beginning of 2021. But yeah, I think I did the same thing with this other next one, is that I just didn't want to have to wait so long for the 3rd book, but I kept telling myself I was going to read it. And I did that with A Heart So Fierce and Broken. This is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I loved A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It's a Beauty and the Beast modern retelling with like both an urban setting and a fantasy setting. I really enjoyed it. And so I got this right away when it came out. I think it came out did it come in January of 2020? I got it out of the library right away, just like Skyward or Starsight, and then it sat there for a long time until it was due back to my library. And my library lets me keep books for a very long time. Like I probably had it for 3 months and finally took it back, got it out again. I think I got it out as an ebook the second time, still didn't read it. And then now I just got it out in December, and I'm not gonna have time to finish this before the end of 2020, but it'll be high on the priorities for 2021 because I'm already on the reserve list for when the 3rd book comes out in January. So I plan on reading this hopefully in January of 2021. So those 2 I'm a little shamed about because I've gotten them out for the library so many times, like it's just wrong. And then the rest of these are series that I own, and a lot of them I've owned the entire series. So I need to like get on that. And one is the Charles Lennox murder mysteries. These are just like kind of cozy mysteries that take place in the 1860s, I think. And I enjoy them. They're kind of similar to like a Sherlock kind of story, except for the main character is a gentleman who didn't want to go into like Parliament or become a lawyer like he's supposed to. He decides to become a private detective, and it just follows him solving crimes. And I have read a lot of this series. I can't remember which one this is. This might be like the 8th or something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is the 9th book in the series, and I haven't read a book from this series in more than 2 years. Actually, this probably shouldn't be. The reason I put it on this list is because I had read the prequel in 2019, but does that really count? I didn't continue the series. I went back and read a prequel, but I guess it counts. I did read something from the series in 2019, but I did not read. This one has been on my shelf for probably 3 years, sitting there, and I own like the entire series. So I need to finish that one. And then the next one is a self-published series. This is the Steel and Fire series. This is book 4. I read the first 3, which are, what are they called? Duel of Fire, King of Mist, and Dance of Steel are the first 3 books in the series, and I love them. They were like 5 stars, 4 stars. I absolutely love this story. It was about a young woman who is a duelist, so she, is a fencer, and that's how she earns her money, is by dueling. And then she gets hired to teach the prince how to better duel, just for his own safety and for the fact the prince should be good with a sword. And lots of stuff goes from there. There's magic. It was very interesting, lots of twists and turns. I love this series. I love the romance. And I stopped after the 3rd book because the first 3 books were on my library from an audiobook, and I listened to them all, and I just got used to listening to them that I didn't feel like picking up the 4th book physically. Does anybody else do that, where you start off a series in one format, whether that's like audiobook, physical, or ebook, and then you can't like switch formats? I'm like that, and I shouldn't be, because I do want to know the conclusion of the story. There's 2 more books. I own them both, and I want to read them because there's other Jordan Rivet books that I want to read. So 2021, I need to finish the last 2 books in this series, and I just need to read them physically and get over the fact that they don't have the audiobook at my library. The next one is a super popular series, and that's The Arc of the Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I read Scythe in 2019, and I really enjoyed it. I loved it, and I thought I would just go out and buy Thunderhead and read it right away. Like, I bought it right afterwards, I think, and then I didn't pick it up for like a year and a half. I don't know. The next one is another popular one on BookTube, or it was several years ago, and that was The Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. I read The Kiss of Deception back in, I think at the end of 2019. I think I read it like December of 2019, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I actually picked up The Heart of Betrayal in January of 2020, and I don't know what was with me in January. I was starting things and not finishing them. I didn't get very far. I think I only read like 50 pages of this or something, and I just put it down and never picked it up for the rest of 2020. And now I'm gonna need to go, and I'm not gonna reread it because I know the highlights, but I think I would need to go back and read a more detailed synopsis just to make sure I understand all the like political things that were happening and all the characters' names and all that stuff. But I definitely want to continue this series. I just don't know why. I think it's just because 2020. I'm gonna blame it on 2020 and not the fact that I just never finished series. This is just like a common occurrence. But then the last one is the one that I'm most shamed about because I really want to finish this series, and I know why I haven't continued. And this is the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, and I'm just really disappointed because I loved The Final Empire, gave it 5 stars. I was super excited. I actually picked this book up right away afterwards, but I picked it up as an audiobook, and that was a mistake because I just couldn't get into the audiobook. So then I stopped listening to it and then didn't pick up the physical. And now it's been long enough that I will have to reread The Final Empire. Like, I don't think it'll be good enough to just read a synopsis because there's so much. Like, there's some books like this one, yes, there are details, but they're not as important, I think, and crucial to like continue. But this, Brandon Sanderson, when he writes books, I think he puts in a lot of details that are important later in the series, is my guess, just from the way the book was written. And I just don't remember a lot of the characters' names. Like, I think the only character I remember is the main character. And so, yeah, I really do need to go back and read it. And that's part of why I didn't pick it up in 2020, because I had read it at the beginning of 2019. So all this year I kept saying, I've got to go back and read that. But then the thought of having to reread that one and then continue on to this one just seemed like too much this year. So in 2021, I hope to take some time to just sit down and reread The Final Empire so I can finally finish Mistborn, because I feel a little shamed because a lot of my friends love this series. I know Brandon Sanderson is well loved, and I just feel bad that I haven't finished any of his series. Like you see, I just seem to quit after the first book, and I don't want to. I want to continue. So those are all series that I didn't continue in 2020, but most of them I think I will. So I'm not sure about Shades of Magic or Nevernight. Those are ones I'm on the edge, so you can tell me, and I'm not sure about the middle grade, the Time series, but all the other ones that I own, I really do want to get to. I just didn't. 2020 just didn't work for me in terms of series. I didn't continue a lot of series. Yeah, so 2021 will be the year of the series, hopefully. I would love to talk to you about any of these series. If there's ones that you really loved and you think I definitely should get to down below, I would love to hear from you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.